Hello, my beautiful diamonds and my Teletubbies. How to deal with a narcissist husband. Let's talk about it. First, let's talk about what is a narcissist. They believe they're superior to other people. They have fantasies of unlimited success, power, or achievement. They're preoccupied with their own thoughts, their own feelings, and their own experiences. They crave attention, validation, and constant affirmation from other people. They often hint or they ask for compliments to feed their ego. Oh my God, they don't have a clue what compromise is. Everything has got to go their way. They're constantly fishing for compliments, and they become angry and upset if they're not admired, or if you don't feel the way they feel, think the way they think. They can become very defensive and angry if they don't receive the attention, the admiration that they deserve. And above all else, when it comes to empathy, they have none of that. They don't know how to put themselves in another person's place. They have no understanding. They struggle to understand and relate to other people's feelings and other people's needs. And they're very impulsive. They act without considering the consequences of their behavior. Very impulsive. My husband, my second husband, very impulsive. He was very narcissistic. If things didn't go his way, he would actually have temper tantrums like a 5-year-old. Foam coming out of his mouth and everything. And they have difficulty controlling their emotions, and that's why it leads to these outbursts and such erratic behavior. They always believe that they deserve special treatment and automatic compliance. You're just supposed to listen to what they say, fall in line, fall in place, and they use guilt, anger, or self-pity to control and influence other people. They exploit others for their own personal gain or to achieve whatever they want, what's going to benefit them. They don't care about a partnership and working to make it best for the family. And when it comes to their mood swings, please, they can quickly shift from one emotional state to another. They have these intense, oh my God, these anger outbursts that's triggered anytime you give them constructive criticism. You don't feel the way they feel. You don't see things the way they see things. They always perceive things as you're trying to slight them. And they're highly reactive to stress, criticism, and whatever they feel is a threat. And let's not forget to mention the gaslighting. They manipulate others into doubting that their own perceptions, memories, or sanity, something is wrong with you. They use verbal or nonverbal behavior to control, intimidate, or belittle other people. And they have, oh my God, the projection. Oh, it's real. They attribute their own negative qualities and behaviors onto other people. They become overly defensive when they're confronted with criticism or feedback, and they live in constant denial. They deny or they minimize their own flaws and mistakes, and they always shift the blame onto other people, never taking accountability, don't know how to apologize, and they always make excuses for their poor behavior. They always blame other people for their own problems and their failures. They never hold themselves accountable for their behavior or their actions. So we have to keep in mind and remember that when you're dealing with someone who exhibits these behaviors, I'm going to share with you right now how to handle that situation. This is how to deal with a narcissist husband.
How to deal with a narcissist husband. If you have a narcissist husband, then when you married him, you thought he was going to be a normal dude. And then now that you're getting to know him, he is a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, a person who talks bad about others behind their back, talks bad about you behind your back. He's a bully. He admires bullies. He lacks accountability. It's hard for him to just say sorry or to show any emotional maturity, and he has no empathy for your feelings. If that sounds like your husband, here's how to deal with him. You can't yell at him or talk to him sternly because he likes conflict, war, and he loves to see you upset. So an argument is really making his day, and that means that you are reinforcing his bad behavior. He will continue to treat you poorly. You can't just sit around ignoring him because he is mentally and emotionally abusive. So even if you were to hear his words or read his words on your phone or a piece of paper, they're still toxic to you. So all of that is still going to harm you metaphysically. You're not staying for the sake of the kids because the kids are going to be more damaged watching you get abused for your whole marriage. You can try going gray rock, which is where you show no emotions, and that will help to diminish his ability to emotionally manipulate you. It will take away his supply, and if you're not telling any information about yourself as a part of the gray rocking process, it'll make it difficult for him to use the information against you. But that still doesn't solve your problem because you can't stop speaking at all to the person that you live in a house with because they still live with you, so they still have 1,000,001 excuses why you have to interact with them. So the solution is to silently plot your escape. You will need to start by making phone calls to people like myself, trauma specialists, lawyers, people who are experiencing this, people who don't have any access to talking to your husband, to make sure that they can't let your husband on to what your plan is, because we need to do this privately, silently, get all the plans in place. Your next step is you're going to need to get the financial ducks in a row. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need an income. It doesn't need to be a lot, and a shelter planned out. So once you have an income and a shelter, ideally your own bank account, but that should be common sense, then you have what you need to technically move out of that house. Now, finally, you need to take the action. The guilt is something we can deal with later because that's just a framing of it in your head, like I'm doing something wrong. Even if you are religious, religions make a concession for divorce under certain circumstances. You're in those circumstances. Even if you are religious, religions make a concession for separation under certain circumstances. You are in those circumstances. And so whatever your reason is, whether it's the kids or whether it's religion or whether it's community that's making you feel like you're stuck, look past that barrier and get real. You have the control, the power to influence your life for the better. Take action now to make sure the rest of your life isn't like the last 20 to 30 years. There is no actual way to make a relationship work with a person who lacks accountability and empathy, so you just have to leave silently.
Let me share this other clip with you, how to beat the narcissists at their own game.
When you're dealing with narcissistic people, you are in fact in a game, whether you like it or not. A relationship with narcissists is not about love, it's not about common courtesy, it's not about mutual respect, it's about a game. The name of the game is who's in control, who can cause the other person to submit and to serve. And just like any game in life, the tables can in fact turn, and you can be on the winning end. You can be on the dominant side. That's right. You can have the narcissist submitting and serving you. But you have to understand the game first. In this message, I'm going to break down what you need to know to be on the winning side so that narcissistic people are submitting and serving you. Now we're talking about the game. It's possible to change the game with narcissistic people so that you are on the controlling end and the narcissist is serving you. But first of all, let's talk about the biggest secret. You have to understand the game here. You have to understand what the narcissist is trying to do. Ultimately, it's not about love. the narcissistic people they don't care about you. Whether it's your family, whether it's friends, they don't care about you the way in which you think they do. They're involved in a world of games to be in control, to be dominating, to be in authority, to get you to serve them. When you understand this, you can understand why narcissists use the tactics that they do. They love bomb you to bring you into the game. They tell you that they love you with their words. They tell you all the stuff that you want to hear to bring you in, but then they use force, hostility, anger, and aggression to show you that they really don't care about you, but they want you to be too afraid to leave them. Worse than that, they want you to fight back. This is the biggest mistake that we make. When you realize you're in a game with narcissists, you start to fight back, which plays right into the narcissist's hands. How does this work? I want you to remember the movie Star Wars. Brilliantly written movie. All right, the original Star Wars. It has this understanding of narcissism and how it operates. Darth Vader, the dark side, are the narcissists. The Jedi represent the empaths, the light. The dark side, Darth Vader, wants the Jedi to fight with them. Why? Darth Vader says it to Luke Skywalker in one of the lines of the movie. Go ahead, strike me down. Strike me down with your anger so you can fulfill that prophecy. Become like me. That's what Darth Vader's saying. Strike me down. Use your anger. Feel it. That's the dark side. And when you strike me down, I win because you're like me and then we could be together. Understand that narcissists want that. They want you to argue with them. They want you to fight with them. They want you to become like them so you go nowhere. You join them in the chaos. Narcissists live in chaos. They're okay with chaos. They like the fight. They want to meet you there. They want to keep you there. That's where they have you arrested. That's where they have you stuck. There's a saying out there also, don't wrestle with pigs. Why? Well, because you're just going to get full of mud. Trapped in the mud. And number two, the pigs really like it. They live there. So understand that that's the game. The game is to keep you. The game is to transform you. The game is to get you like them so they're in charge. They're in control and they dominate you. So now let's talk about breaking the game so that you can be on the winning side. You can be the dominant one. Step number one. Are you ready? You've got to create distance. If you're in the mud with the pig, you got to get out. You got to go through a period of time of washing yourself clean. You got to get out of the fighting cage. You got to get away from the dark side. You got to put that lightsaber away. Stop fighting. Understand they're trying to pull you into a fight. So you got to create the distance. That's step number one. For some of you, that distance may even look like moving away to a different city, to a different state. During this process, you're going to have to heal. You're going to have to heal and mourn the loss of what you thought that relationship was. You're also going to have to mourn the loss of the idea that people are inherently good, that you can meet people and they have a heart to love you. This is the most painful part. See, part of what you're seeing with the narcissist, part of the pain is understanding that, wow, the world sucks and people are cruel and mean and they play games. Yes. You have to own up to the fact that there is a dark side. There is malevolence, there is evil, and it wants to suck you into a game. And yes, this may be your dad, it may be your mom, it may be your brothers, it may be your sisters, it may be people you were brought up with, and you're finally realizing it, oh my gosh, I'm nothing like them. They're on this evil side of hostility and aggression, and they want me to be like that, and I can't. So you're going to mourn the loss of that, and it's going to be very painful. At the same time, simultaneously, you're going to find yourself. You're going to discover what you like, what you don't like. This is an important part. This is key. If you don't like name calling, own it. You don't like cussing, own it. You don't like hostility and fighting, own it. This is now who you are. Make a determination. I will only be around people who are encouraging. I will only be around people who are uplifting. What you're doing is you're now starting to set up your side of the game. You're starting to build your game pieces. And now watch this. As you set up your side of the game and your game pieces, only after a period of time, and by the way, when you leave narcissists, when you go no contact, it's like hitting reset. It's the reset button. It's the game reset. You see, because you're distant from the narcissist, they're not able to get your reaction, so they're not able to stay in control. So you need that distance. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It could be 10 years. But it resets the game board. because the narcissist no longer knows what's going on in your head. The more distant they are, the more distant you are from narcissists, the less they can see your reaction. They don't know what's going on with you. Narcissists require to see your reactions. They require, in order to understand where they are in the game, to make changes about their tactics. So this is why you distancing yourself is so important, because it resets that. You're resetting the game board. You're discovering who you are. You're making your rules for your game. And then you're also understanding now that there are people who don't love you, even in your own family. There are people who don't care about you. There are people who only see life as a game. And with this understanding, now you have the power to set rules for your game. Here's what it looks like. Are you ready? Now that you know who you are, now, only now, and it could be 5 years later, 10 years later, can you walk by those family members now? Strong, understanding your game and understanding their game. Your game is that I'm not going to fight with these people. If there's one wrong word that I don't like, they'll get my backside and I'm out. If there's one wrong look, I'll say, we don't have...
Okay, I'm going to have to disagree on that part, because you can't be, just because people don't feel the way you feel, don't see things the way you see it, that's not cool. Just if they give me one wrong look, no. I guess what he's saying is if you are dealing with a narcissist, but you have a lot of people in this world who are hypersensitive, and you should not have to walk and talk on eggshells when you're dealing with family members, husbands, or what have you. I understand what he's saying, because narcissists, they do tend to abuse the heck out of you. But, if you're dealing with a narcissist husband, what I want to say here is you're probably feeling very confused and you're hurt and you're alone. But I need you to know that you're not alone. And yes, there's always hope. At the same time, first of all, I agree with the first gentleman that I shared with you. It's time for you to move. You got to get out. But you have to do it on a down low. Because, you look at twisted crimes, viral crimes, horrendous crimes. I mean, look at the way these men respond when you choose to leave. So you have to make sure that please don't ever turn your back on your family. I think my daughter and my son, let somebody treat my children badly. Child, I don't care whether we're going through ups and downs. Who cares? We'll find a way to work through it. My daughter, my granddaughter, my grandson, my family, yeah, they always know they could turn to their mother. I'm here. I don't care about our disagreements. We'll work through that. But if you have someone who's thinking that they're the most important person in the world and they expect everyone else to think so too, and they're ready to abuse you because you don't see it that way, whatever, child. We don't have time for that. My children should know, and my grandchildren, and my brother, I'm always here. And I will always be here. If they have narcissistic traits, or if I have narcissistic, we'll work through all of that. But back to the point, when you're married to a narcissist, it's hard to deal with. It is. Because they make you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time. Never knowing when or what you're going to say that's going to trigger their anger or make them upset. They make you feel like you're not good enough or that you're always the reason for their problems. But the thing is this. None of that is true. You are not. I'm going to say this word again. You are not the problem. Your husband's behavior is not your fault. So like the first gentleman said, and this man here too, with the Star Wars, I put the Star Wars for men who may be dealing with also a narcissistic wife, and men tend to, I don't know, when you give them analogies or examples like what this man was saying here, but the first thing you have to do is you have to set your boundaries. And when you set boundaries, please make sure they're realistic. You have the right to say no. You have the right to set limits and to protect yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and tell your husband what you will and what you won't tolerate. And if he can't get on board, then it's time for me to pack my stuff or have him pack his and bounce. And remember that your husband's behavior is not about you. It's about him and his own insecurities. Try to take his insults or try not to. The word is not to take his insults or criticisms personally. Please don't do that. And it's so important for you to don't let him isolate you and cut off your friends and your family, because you shouldn't have to go through this alone. You have to reach out to friends and family. So always keep them on board, or find yourself a therapist who can support and guide you. And always make sure that you're taking care of your physical, your emotional, and your mental health. Do things that make you happy, okay? Do things to make you happy. Always practice self-care while he's giving you the silent treatment and all that other childish behavior. You have to prioritize your well-being always. And if you're feeling stuck or unsure of how to move forward, consider speaking to a counselor. They're all over social media. And a therapist can help you to also develop some strategies for dealing with your husband's behavior and support you in making positive changes. Remember, oh, please, all of you beautiful diamonds, and I mean sparkling beautiful, beautiful. You're the gift. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing, and he finds favor with God. So remember, you deserve to be treated with love, with respect and kindness. And please don't ever settle for anything less than that, because you are beautiful. And if you know you need areas of work on that, because none of us are perfect at the same time. Nobody, no one deserves to be abused. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.